Welcome to the Covert Narcissism podcast. I'm your host, Renee Swanson. I am not a therapist, and you are not a victim. Have you ever noticed that every covert narcissist seems to follow the exact same script? It's almost eerie. I know I definitely have noticed this. It's as if they all sat in a classroom together, notebooks in hand, while some smug professor stood at the chalkboard saying, "Welcome to Covert Narcissism 101. In this class, you'll learn how to confuse, control, and crush your partner's spirit, all the while looking like the nicest person in the room." Well, I found the textbook. Yeah, that's it. I did. Covert Narcissism 101. And I'm going to read a few chapters to you today. If you've ever lived with one of these people, you will recognize this material immediately. You might even start wondering if your partner had it hidden under their pillow at night. Welcome back to the Covert Narcissism podcast, where we pull out the playbook that your covert narcissist definitely memorized, and we're going to translate it so you can finally see the game that you've been caught in. Now, let's start the class with a good look at the syllabus. Syllabus for Covert Narcissism 101. At the top, the title of the class. Welcome to Covert Narcissism 101, an introductory course in confusion and control. The professor's name is there, and it is Dr. I Am Blameless. Office hours, never. Don't even ask. The prerequisites, basic selfishness and a willingness to dodge accountability. Course materials, one fragile ego, unlimited projection, and a partner with empathy. Now for the course description. In this course, you will learn how to erode someone's confidence, rewrite history, and maintain the perfect image in public while being impossible in private. By the end of the semester, you will leave your partner questioning their sanity, and with any luck, they'll actually be apologizing to you for the damage that you caused. Well, here's a list of the learning objectives. Master the half apology in under 30 seconds. Perfect the art of gaslighting until your partner Googles, "Am I going crazy?" Implement advanced silent treatment techniques to ensure that nothing ever gets resolved. Cultivate a shiny public image that makes your partner look like the ungrateful one. And weaponize sighs, eye rolls, and martyrdom for maximum effect. Assignments. Your assignments are weekly gaslighting practice with a live partner, the silent treatment logs, which is where you're tracking how long you can go without speaking, and extra credit. Ruin at least one family holiday. And there will be other extra credits throughout the syllabus. Grading. The grading scale is 50% deflection, 30% playing the victim, and 20% selective memory. By the way, this is a pass-fail class only, and a spoiler alert, you always pass, and your partner always fails. All right, let's open the textbook and begin with Chapter 1, The Art of the Half Apology. The textbook says, always say, "I'm sorry you feel that way," and never, "I'm sorry I hurt you." So let me give you an example, the professor continues. Your spouse says to you, "That comment in front of your friends last night, that embarrassed me, that hurt." You tilt your head slightly, sigh deeply, and you reply, "I didn't mean it like that. I'm sorry you're so sensitive." Do you see what just happened here? You never actually acknowledged the wound. You didn't admit to anything, and in fact, you made them sound overly sensitive. Advanced students, you may even add an eye roll, or you might even mutter, "You're too emotional." This will ensure that they spend the evening apologizing to you for even bringing it up in the first place. And by the way, you get extra credit points if you get an apology from them. You get double points if you can even get a thank you from them for their, fake apology. Side note from Renee here for just a minute. I once had a listener tell me, "Renee, my husband apologized to me. He said, 'I'm sorry, but you do know that you bring the worst out in me, right?' And she said, 'I thanked him for the apology.'" And then she later is looking back going, "Was that an apology? Was it not? I don't know why I don't feel better." Well, she was so desperate for any apology that she grabbed onto the crumbs. That's straight from chapter 1. Now, the professor continues with Chapter 2, Gaslighting 101. Ah, yes, the golden standard. The textbook says when your partner calls you out, deny, deny, deny. And if denial doesn't work, accuse them of being crazy. Actually, you accuse them of anything, but that one works pretty well. So picture this, the professor continues. Your partner reminds you of something you said last week. Maybe it was mean, maybe it was dismissive. They bring it up, and they might even be as calm as can be on this. So here's what you do. You look puzzled, you wrinkle your forehead, and you say, I never said that. Yeah, why are you making things up? They might even quote it back to you, and you can watch them going crazy trying to figure out, wait, but you did say this. And they might quote it back word for word, and you know it too. But now you smirk and, say, wow, you must have a really active imagination. Bonus points, by the way, if you sigh and whisper, man, I didn't realize you were this unstable. You'll have them Googling symptoms of dementia before bedtime. Side note from Renee. One listener shared with me how she literally had a journal filled with dates and quotes because her husband would deny everything. She thought keeping track would help. But when she pulled out the journal, what did he say? Wow, you've been keeping a record of me? That's creepy. Maybe you're the abuser here. Now, this is straight out of the textbook. You can almost hear the professor saying, if they have evidence, accuse them of being controlling. If they have audio recordings, call it stalking. Whatever you do, never take responsibility. Chapter 3 is emotional ghosting. Now, the textbook says conflicts are never to be resolved. Why don't you highlight that phrase? Conflicts are never to be resolved. And the silent treatment, that's your Swiss Army knife. Carry it everywhere you go. Now, the professor continues. This one is important, so listen up. They try to talk to you about a fight from last night or an argument or a disagreement. You simply cross your arms, stare off into space, and say, I don't know what you're talking about. You really have to pretend like nothing ever happened. Just make it go poof into midair. Or better yet, disappear into your phone while they are in mid sentence. Tap, tap, scroll, look at them blankly every now and then and just let them continue, but silently communicate that TikTok is more interesting than they are and watch them run out of steam. If they push harder before they run out of steam, then let's escalate this. Leave the house. Slam the door, by the way, on your way out. Or spend the night on the couch. Remember, unresolved conflict keeps them off balance, and that's exactly where you want them to be. So nothing ever gets resolved. Side note from Renee. One woman told me that her husband would literally leave the house after an argument and not come back until the next day. And when she asked where he'd have been, he'd just shrug. I just needed space from your drama. Again, making her to be the bad person. No discussion, no resolution, just emotional ghosting. And if you dare to push the issue, you're the nag. You're the one who can't let things go. Chapter 4, Public Image versus Private Hell. Now, this one deserves a standing ovation. The textbook practically requires covert narcissists to master it. By the way, there will be a final quiz on all of this, a final exam at the end of these 2 episodes we're doing on this. In public, be the dream spouse. This is the professor continuing. Smiling, attentive, affectionate. Be the first to carry the groceries for the neighbor, the first to volunteer for the church bake sale. But behind closed doors, criticize everything. The way they cook, the way they breathe, the way they exist. Make sure they can't do anything to your satisfaction. This creates the perfect setup. When your partner dares to tell others what's happening, no one will believe them. You're the charming spouse. You're the model citizen. And they look paranoid. So you win. Side note from Renee, I had a client tell me he would literally put his arm around me at dinner parties, telling stories about how amazing I was. And the minute we got in the car, he'd whisper through gritted teeth, don't think you fooled anyone there. everyone knows you're a burden. That split, the charming public persona and the private cruelty, is why so many victims feel like they're going crazy. Nobody sees the abuse. It's hidden behind that perfect smile and Instagram-worthy family photo. Chapter 5, the professor continues, is Mastering Martyrdom. Here's the textbook again. If life doesn't go your way, and sometimes even if it does, sigh loudly, rub your temples, mutter things like, why does everything have to be so hard? And if they don't comfort you, act like they've betrayed you. Okay, now this one's classic. The professor continues, they just finished cooking dinner for you and the kids. Dishes are still piled in the sink. You know they're exhausted from their full day of work or their full day of taking care of the kids and cleaning the house. But you flop onto the couch with a groan, holding your forehead like the weight of the world just crushed you. Extra credit points if you now throw in dialogue, or really a monologue, of how hard your day has been and how exhausted you are. Because the results of this exercise is that they will take care of the dishes. They'll take care of that and the kids' homework and the laundry, because heaven forbid they actually ask you to show up for real life. And when they finally collapse into the bed, like beside you, where you've been for like the last 2 hours already, they finally collapse into the bed beside you, you sigh. And you mutter, I just wish you cared more about me. You're always too busy for us. This will guilt your partner into doing all the work, all the chores, all the carrying all the emotional baggage, all the apologizing for not caring enough, and now they're going to take care of you. Remember, nothing is your responsibility. Everything is actually their fault. Chapter 6, Baiting for Sport. Now, this is the textbook tip that says, do you need attention? Then make a snide remark. It doesn't matter what about, just throw the hook out there. You might say, wow, another new outfit? Must be nice to spend money while I'm slaving away. Or, are you really going to eat that? Or my personal favorite, you're just like your mother. This is fishing. This is when you need a reaction. You need some attention. You need their focus to be back on you instead of whatever else they were doing in life. And if they blow up, you can say, see, you're so emotional. Calm down. And now they'll be pouring all of that effort into you. If they don't react, then you can accuse them of being cold and distant, and now they're pouring all of that attention into you. Either way, you win. Side note from Renee, one listener told me that her covert narcissist would deliberately make comments about her late father, the one person she deeply admired, just to watch her crumble. And when she got upset, he'd say, wow, touchy subject, I guess. That's not just baiting. That's cruel. This is downright mean. Now, there you have it. Just the opening chapters of Covert Narcissism 101. And in our next episode, we'll tackle the advanced curriculum, which is, how to hijack holidays, rewrite history like a pro, and make your partner doubt their reality for fun and profit. You see, when you live with a covert narcissist, it's not a relationship. It's an education that you never signed up for. An education in double standards, moving goalposts, questioning your own reality. You didn't ask to be a student here, but suddenly you're enrolled. The tuition is your peace of mind. It costs you your peace of mind. And the lessons are carved straight into your soul. You learn to measure your words. You learn to read the air like a weather report. You learn to sense the storm before it breaks. You learn how to shrink yourself, how to apologize for things you didn't do, and how to bend so far that you almost disappear. But let me tell you this. Their textbook may feel universal, but their power is not. Once you see the syllabus for what it is, a handbook of manipulation, you can put it down. You do not have to keep attending the lectures. You do not have to keep taking their test. Because you are not the failing student here. You're the one who will graduate from this madness with clarity, truth, and strength that no covert narcissist will ever take away. So take a deep breath, close the book for now, and join me next time as we dive into the advanced curriculum, Covert Narcissism 102. Class dismissed for today. I wish you so much peace. on your journey of healing. You have been listening to the Covert Narcissism podcast, where we break apart the insidious nature of these incredibly destructive and infinitely frustrating individuals. If you are caught up in this crazy-making relationship and drowning in self-doubt, guilt, or rumination, please reach out to me anytime. I offer individualized live coaching in both group and individual settings. We can find the right program for you. You do not need to go through this alone. You can find all of that information on my website at covertnarcissism.com. You can also reach out to me by email at Renee, R-E-N-E-E, at covertnarcissism.com. I do look forward to hearing from each and every one of you. Remember, I am not a therapist, and you are not a victim. I am a coach, and you are a survivor. The information provided by Renee Swanson, Covert Narcissism Podcast, and CNG Life Coaching is for educational purposes only and is not to be used for diagnosis purposes. It is not intended to be a substitute for clinical care. Please consult a healthcare provider for guidance specific to your case. This material discusses narcissism in general. Renee shares stories from her personal experience as well as from those that she has worked with for several years. Her material does not claim that any specific person has narcissism and should not be used to refer to any specific person as having narcissism. Permission is not granted to link to or repost this material to support an allegation or support a claim that any specific person is a narcissist. That would be an unauthorized misuse of the material and the information provided. Thank you.